What if I told you that the greatest threat to the Catholic Church isn't coming from the outside, but from within? That something foreseen over a century ago may now be unfolding before our very eyes? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might change how you see the future of the Church forever. Brothers and sisters in Christ, today I invite you to pause. Just for a moment, step away from the noise, the headlines, the chaos of the world. Let's take a breath together, open our hearts, and awaken our minds. Because we are living in extraordinary times. The world around us is shifting at a pace that feels almost surreal. Everything familiar seems to be on shaky ground. And within this whirlwind of change, even the Catholic Church, founded by Christ himself, appears to be navigating through stormy, treacherous waters. We see internal rifts growing deeper, interpretations of doctrine clashing more openly than ever, and scandals shaking the very trust of the faithful. There's a chilling sense that we're facing not just a crisis of leadership, but a crisis of faith itself. Like a shadow spreading slowly, silently, across the soul of the Church. Never before has Peter's boat, the symbolic vessel of the Church, looked so vulnerable. And yet, we shouldn't be surprised. The Scriptures, the saints, the mystics, they all warned us. These days of trial were foretold. Many believe we are now standing on the edge of an epochal event, something that could leave an irreversible mark on Church history. What lies beyond the era of Pope Francis? Are we about to witness a schism? And what will that mean for us, the people of God? Some believe the answers may already have been given, hidden in plain sight, in the prophecies of Fatima, and in the visions of mystics who, throughout the centuries, have seen glimmers of the Church's future. In this journey we're beginning together, we'll uncover these revelations, explore the signs manifesting all around us, and seek a deeper spiritual readiness for whatever may come. So I ask you to stay with me until the very end, because what we discover may completely reshape your understanding of where the Catholic faith is heading. To truly grasp what's happening today, we must first look back. For over 2,000 years, the Catholic Church has endured storms of every kind. Think back to the early days of Christianity, when believers were hunted and martyred under the Roman Empire. Or the Great Schism of the East, which split the Latin Church from the Orthodox Church. And then the chaos of the Western Schism, when not 2 but 3 popes claimed to sit on Peter's throne. And yet, every time, the Church endured. Why? Because of Christ's eternal promise. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. But this time, something feels different. This is not merely about politics or institutional power struggles. This crisis runs deeper into the very fabric of belief. The divisions are no longer just about territories or authority. They pierce to the core of Catholic doctrine. And so we turn again to the prophecies. Those same voices that guided generations through darkness are now speaking again with renewed urgency, as though the time of trial is no longer far off, but near. In 1917, in the humble village of Fatima, Portugal, something extraordinary happened. The Virgin Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, and siblings Francisco and Jacinta Marto. She entrusted them with 3 secrets messages that would shake the world. The first 2 were revealed early: a harrowing vision of hell and a plea to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, to prevent wars and persecution. But the third secret remained cloaked in mystery for decades, fueling rumors, debates, and deep unease. It wasn't until the year 2000, under the papacy of John Paul II, that the Vatican finally released part of the message. It described a haunting vision: a bishop dressed in white walking through the ruins of a devastated city, stepping over the bodies of martyrs until he is struck down by arrows and gunfire. The Church officially interpreted this as a reference to the 1981 assassination attempt on John Paul II. But many theologians and scholars have long believed that this vision carries a much broader, more alarming message. Cardinal Mario Luigi Ciappi, who served as the personal theologian to 5 popes, once stated that the third secret warned of a great apostasy that would begin at the very highest levels of the Church. This revelation has sparked countless theories, some suggesting that the Vatican never disclosed the full message, perhaps out of fear of creating panic among the faithful. In letters written during the 1980s, Sister Lucia herself, one of the original visionaries, seems to confirm this ominous outlook. She spoke of a spiritual crisis that would strike the Church from within. And as we look around today, do we not see signs of that very warning coming to life? Divisions among bishops, controversies tearing at the unity of believers. But what more did these messages contain? And are they still echoing today, calling out to those who will listen? We saw how the warnings of Fatima, especially the mysterious third secret, may not only speak of the past, but seem to mirror the spiritual tensions and divisions of our own time. But what if these visions were not isolated at all? Across the globe today, the Church finds itself divided not only by matters of governance or tradition, but over foundational issues like marriage, morality, and doctrine. More and more of the faithful are quietly drifting away from religious practice. Is this slow unraveling not what Our Lady of Fatima warned us about over a century ago? Perhaps the third secret was never meant to be confined to history. Perhaps it was always a warning meant precisely for this moment. And Fatima isn't alone. Throughout the centuries, a striking pattern emerges. Mystics, saints, and seers from various times and places have received visions and messages, many of which seem to point toward a future crisis in the Church, a crisis that now feels frighteningly close. Let us consider a few of them. Even after the 1917 apparitions, Sister Lucia, the last surviving seer of Fatima, continued to receive heavenly messages throughout her life. In one particularly sobering letter addressed to Cardinal Carlo Caffarra, she shared a message from the Virgin Mary herself. It stated that the final battle between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan will be about marriage and the family. And indeed, look around us today. That battle is no longer coming. It's here. Fierce debates over marriage, family values, and doctrinal teachings are creating deep divisions, not only among the faithful, but among bishops, priests, and theologians. What once was considered unshakable truth is now being questioned, reinterpreted, or even rejected. In 1973, On the other side of the world, in Akita, Japan, Sister Agnes Sasagawa received a Marian apparition recognized by the local church authorities. The message she received was chilling. The Virgin Mary warned that a time would come when cardinals would oppose cardinals, bishops would rise against bishops, and Satan would infiltrate even the highest levels of the church. She warned that many priests would end up leading souls not to salvation, but to perdition. The similarities to the third secret of Fatima are hard to ignore. The sense of internal conflict, the fear of betrayal from within. Around that same period, from 1973 to 1997, an Italian priest named Father Stefano Gobbi reported receiving inner locutions from the Virgin Mary. In these messages, she warned of a dangerous deception, a false church that would rise from within the true one. This impostor church would promote heresy, embrace moral relativism, and draw many faithful away from the truth. According to these messages, a time would come when believers would be forced to choose between fidelity to authentic doctrine or the comforting illusions of error. The visions of Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, an Augustinian nun of the 19th century, were perhaps even more vivid. She described two churches, one, the true church, suffering, persecuted, and reduced to a small, faithful remnant. The other, a false church thriving, celebrated by the world, but inwardly corrupt. She saw priests abandoning sacred traditions to align with secular ideologies. Many today see those very images echoed in the church's current spiritual and doctrinal crisis. What is remarkable is that these prophecies, though delivered across different eras and continents, all seem to converge on one sobering possibility: that the Church may face a schism. Not merely a political rupture, but a profound division between those who remain loyal to the Church's traditional teachings and those who embrace a form of reform that many consider dangerous. And as the papacy of Pope Francis continues, some fear that such a division could soon become definitive. One striking feature of our present age is something completely unprecedented: the coexistence of two living popes, Pope Benedict XVI, who resigned in 2013, and Pope Francis, who was elected immediately afterward. In the long sweep of church history, such a situation is extraordinary, and for some, deeply symbolic. Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich had, astonishingly, spoken of a time marked by confusion surrounding two popes. And shortly before his resignation, Pope Benedict XVI himself hinted at the growing presence of what he called a parallel church, one that seeks to redefine the faith from within. There is also the ancient prophecy of Saint Malachy, a 12th century Irish bishop. Though its authenticity remains a subject of scholarly debate, it has captivated the imagination of many. In this prophecy, each pope is assigned a symbolic motto. Pope Francis is listed as Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, the final pope, destined to lead the Church during an age of great tribulation. Could it be coincidence? Or is this yet another prophetic thread being woven into our current moment? In history, we witnessed the chaos of the Great Western Schism, a time when two popes, one in Rome and another in Avignon, vied for legitimacy, plunging the faithful into confusion and despair. But if a schism arises today, it may not come in the form of rival popes, it could be far more insidious, a fracture not of leadership, but of belief. Certain episcopal conferences, entire dioceses, or segments of the laity could begin distancing themselves from the Church's long-standing doctrines, adopting new interpretations that directly conflict with tradition. The consequences would be enormous. For believers, it would mean having to take a stand, choosing sides in a time of spiritual upheaval. Such a decision could test not just loyalty, but identity. It could challenge the very meaning of unity, the unity that Christ willed for his Church. For the world, a schism would fracture the moral authority of the Catholic witness, undermining its ability to evangelize and speak with a united voice. What happens when the light meant to guide is itself divided? And now, as we prepare to move forward, another urgent question arises. Could these modern tensions and prophecies be pointing to an even deeper spiritual battle, one not just about doctrine, but about the very nature of the Church itself? Let us continue as we explore this next critical chapter. Its true remaining faithful in today's increasingly secular world can feel harder than ever. The Church appears wounded, divided, even weakened at times. But if history has taught us anything, it's this. Though battered by storms, the Church has never been destroyed by them. The Virgin Mary, who appeared at Fatima, is far more than a distant figure of devotion. She is a loving mother still walking with us, still guiding us through these turbulent times. And her message remains as clear and powerful today as it was over a century ago. Conversion, penance, and prayer. At Fatima, she asked something simple, yet profoundly transformative: the daily recitation of the Rosary and consecration to her Immaculate Heart. She promised that through these spiritual practices, peace would be granted and souls would be saved, even in the darkest of times. And in a time of spiritual confusion and global unrest like ours, her role becomes even more essential. Many believe the triumph of the Immaculate Heart, prophesied at Fatima, is still unfolding. Its final fulfillment depending not just on world events, but on our response. Yours, mine, all of us. The Virgin Mary calls us not to fear, but to faith, to be her little flock, staying close to Christ even when the very foundations of the Church seem to tremble. In a world that often chooses silence over truth, compromise over conviction, we are invited to be different. Brothers and sisters, the future of the Church depends on each one of us. Let us be the salt of the earth, the light that shines in the darkness, witnesses of hope in a time of trial. If this message speaks to you, subscribe to this channel. Together, we'll keep diving deeper into the signs, the messages, and the truth that can guide us in these uncertain days. Like this video, share it with others who are searching, and most importantly, comment below. Do you believe the Church is heading toward a schism? What signs have you noticed in your community? Let's open a respectful, faith-filled conversation. We're in this together on a journey of truth, of hope, and of spiritual preparation. May God bless you, strengthen you, and guide us all as we walk this path, hand in hand, under the care of our Blessed Mother.